Hello everyone, good afternoon to you all. I hope everyone is doing well. Today's topic we are going to talk about the lineal welterweight champions. But first, we are going to define what is the meaning of lineal. Lineal, in a simple words, it is the man who beat the man. So what does that mean? Is simply called the legitimate champion who beat the previous legitimate champion. So he is the king, the sole champion, the only king on that division. Okay, so that's what we call lineal or linear champion. On that regard, we proceed to our topic for today, which is the welterweight lineal champions. So from here, we will start the first lineal champion way back from 18th century, 1800. Alright? So from my sources, legitimate source, let's start from the July 10 of 1890. So the first lineal welterweight champion was Paddy Duffy. That was July 10, 1890, right? And then next, Billy Smith. So Billy Smith beat Duffy, then followed by Tommy Ryan, then Billy Smith, and then William Matthew, then Eddie Connolly, then James Ferns, then William Matthew. So William Matthew again, okay, for the second time. And then James Ferns again for the second time. Then Joe Walcott. Then in 1904, Dixie Kid. Okay? 1906, Billy Mellody. 1907, Mike Sullivan. Then after Mike Sullivan, for whatever reason, the title becomes vacant. You know, the lineal champion vacant because he vacated the title. So there's a lot of welterweight contenders during that time, no? During 1908, from 1908 to 1914. And these fighters are Frank Mantell, Harry Lewis, Jimmy Gardner, Jimmy Clabby, Perry Graves, and the future champs Jack Britton and Ted Lewis. Now in 1914, because of those contenders, they fought each other, and the lineal champion, there's a new lineal champion again. So his name was Waldemar Hallberg, 1914. Then Tom McCormick, and then Matt Wells, and then Mike Glover, then Jack Britton, and then Ted Lewis, and then Jack Britton again, and then Ted Lewis again. Wow. Then Jack Britton again, and then Mickey Walker, followed by Pete Latzu, then Joe Dundee, Jackie Fields, Jack Thompson, Tommy Freeman, Jack Thompson again, Jackie Fields, Young Corbett, Jimmy McLarnen, Barney Ross, Jimmy McLarnen again, Barney Ross again. Then 1938, the great Henry Armstrong, okay, the homicide hunk. Then Fritzy Civic, and then Freddie Coleraine, and then Marty Servo, In 1946, the lineal welterweight champion was the great Sugar Ray Robinson. And then Sugar Ray Robinson vacated the title because he moved up from welterweight 147 pounds. Ray Robinson moved up to middleweight. Okay, so the new champion, the new lineal champion, was Kid Gavilan, Johnny Saxton, then Tony DeMarco, followed by Carmen Basilio, Johnny Saxton again, Carmen Basilio again, Verhel Alkins, Don Jordan, Benny Parrett, Emil Griffith, 1961, then Benny Parrett again, 1962, and then Emil Griffith again, 1962, Luis Manuel Rodriguez, 1963, Emil Griffith, 1963, Curtis Cox, 1966, Jose Napoles, 1969, Bailey Bacos, 1970, Jose Napoles again, 1971, John Tracy, 1975, Carlos Palomino, 1976, Wilfredo Benitez Sr., 1979, and then Wilfred Benitez, Wilfred Benitez, and then Sugar Ray Leonard, the great Sugar Ray Leonard beat the lineal champ Wilfred Benitez, and then Roberto Duran beat Ray Leonard, okay, and then the rematch, Ray Leonard beat Roberto Duran, so Ray Leonard became a two-time lineal champion. And then, from that, Sugar Ray Leonard vacated the title because he temporarily, or he just retired for his whatever reason he has, eye retina, whatever. So he retired, so the lineal champion becomes vacant again, okay? So the new champion, 1985, Donald Curry, followed by Lloyd Honeygan, 1986, and then Jorge Vaca, 1987, then Lloyd Gum, again, 1988, then Marlon Starling, 1989, Maurice Blacker, 1990, Simon Brown, 1991, then here, prominent name, James Buddy McGirt became the lineal champion, 1991, he beat Simon Brown. Then Pernell Whitaker beat Buddy McGirt. Then that was 1993. Then 1997, the Golden Boy Oscar De La Hoya beat Pernell Whitaker. And then Felix Tito Trinidad of Puerto Rico beat De La Hoya. So far, those were the lineal welterweight champions. Now, after that, Felix Tito Trinidad moved up to junior middleweight or super welterweight, which is 154. So the lineal welterweight champion at the 147's lineal champion becomes vacant again. Okay, vacant again. So now, Shane Mosley becomes the lineal champion when he fought first time. Mosley and De La Hoya fought for the first time in the year 2000, and Mosley beat De La Hoya. So Sugar Shane Mosley became the lineal champion in 2000, and then Vernon Forrest, because Vernon Forrest knocks out Shane Mosley, and then Ricardo Mayorga, because Ricardo Mayorga knocks out Vernon Forrest. And then next is Corey Spinks. Okay? Corey Spinks beat Mayorga in 2003. Then Sub Judah, because he beat Corey Spinks in 2005 during the rematch. Okay, during the rematch. Then after that, Carlos Baldomir beat Sub Judah. Now, Floyd Mayweather Jr. beat Carlos Baldomir. So Carlos Baldomir became Floyd Mayweather Jr. becomes a lineal champion when he beat Carlos Baldomir. That was 2006. Okay. Then the thing is, after that he retired. Floyd Mayweather retired from boxing. So the lineal champion at the welterweight becomes vacant again. Okay, vacant. So now, from the rankings, Shane Mosley beat Margarito, who beat Cotto. Okay, so the number 1 and the number 2, Margarito and Cotto, fought way back July of 2008. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, that was 1 month after Pacquiao versus David Diaz, because Pacquiao versus David Diaz was June of 2008, and then July is Miguel Cotto versus Antonio Margarito. So the winner of that fight becomes the lineal. Then Shane Mosley beat Margarito. That's why Shane Mosley became the lineal champion at welterweight for the second time. The first one when he beat De La Hoya on their first fight. Okay. Now Floyd Mayweather comes back from retirement. Okay, so he retired, correct? So he comes back. Now he beat Mosley. So Mayweather becomes the lineal champion for the second time. So Shane Mosley twice, then Mayweather twice. Okay. Then next, after that, Floyd Mayweather retired again. Okay, so the lineal welterweight championship becomes vacant again. So last April of 2016, now number 1 Manny Pacquiao versus number 2 Tim Bradley. Okay, April of 2016, they fought, and then Pacquiao beat Bradley, and Pacquiao becomes the lineal champion in the welterweight division. Then 9 days after, Pacquiao announced his retirement, because 2016, this was April of 2016, because Pacquiao that time is running for a senatorial in the Philippine Senate. So once he announced his retirement, the lineal 147 pounds welterweight becomes vacant until this day. And today is July 8, 2021. That lineal welterweight championship is vacant. Okay? And this coming August 21st, 2021, the number 1 ranked welterweight Errol Spence and number 3 ranked Manny Pacquiao welterweight will be fighting for the vacant lineal welterweight championships. That is why the Bible of Boxing, the Ring Magazine, recognizes it, and they are going to award the ring belt for the welterweight championship title between Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence this coming August 21st, 2021. So yeah, that's the list of the lineal welterweight champions from 1890, 18th century, 1890 not to 2021. So the long list. So now we are talking about the lineal championships because we have these 4 major sanctioning bodies, right? WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO in this ranking, right? Because the first major sanctioning body is WBA, and it was fully um, legitimized as major title way back 1962. Okay, 1962. And then next, from WBA, World Boxing Association, that's the first one, 1962. Then next is WBC, 1963. World Boxing Council, 1963. So 1962, 1963. The next is the IBF. IBF is established as a full major title 1983. Okay, 1983. And then so WBA 1962, WBC 1963, and then IBF, International Boxing Federation, is 1983. And then the last major sanctioning belt, which is the WBO, World Boxing Organization, it was legitimately considered as major belt 2004. 2004 was the official year that the WBO became a major sanctioning title belt. Alright? So, because of that, because of these four major sanctioning belts, they have these different kinds of champions. For example, the WBA. The WBA, they have this super champion, regular champions, and the interim champions. The WBC, they have this champion emeritus, franchise champion, emeritus, franchise, diamond champion, silver champion, and they have this regular champion, and they have also the interim champion. The WBO, they have this super champion and the regular champion, and also they have the interim. The IBF only one, but there's something weird in IBF too. So so to become the man who beat the man, or the lineal champion, you have to beat the champ, okay, the real champ, the legitimate champion. Now, if we have these four different champions because of WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO, how can you become a lineal champion? So let's say when you talk about, they should be an undisputed, for example, all the belts to become undisputed, meaning you are a champion, you are holding the four sanctioning belts. Not necessarily. Why? Because the important there is, if the lineal championship is vacant, okay, it's vacant right now in the welterweight. That's why it was vacant, because Pacquiao retired in April of 2016. The moment he announced his retirement, the lineal championship becomes vacant. And until now, there's a lot of rankings from 1 to 10, right? Top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, there is number 1 fighting, which is Errol Spence, and number 3, Manny Pacquiao is fighting. That's why they will be fighting. Now, for the lineal championship. Now, when you ask about, what about Terence Crawford? Because Terence Crawford is number 2, right? Well, based on our legitimate source, Crawford, Manny Pacquiao signed for that fight against Crawford, but Crawford did not sign it. Okay? And for the Crawford versus Spence, Crawford didn't want to sign those two. So they're not fighting for whatever reason. Whether it is ego, whether it is money, whether it is promoter, whatever it is. So, only 3 major reasons, right? The ego, pride. Next is the money, the fans. the sharing, the sharing of pay-per-view buys, the sharing of the gate receipts, the sharing of sponsorships, and then the promoters. For example, Crawford is promoted by Top Rank, and then Errol Spence is promoted by PBC, no? Premier Boxing Champions by Al Haymon, Top Rank by Bob Arum. No. For whatever reason, whatever alibis or excuses, Spence and Crawford is not fighting. Pacquiao and Crawford is not fighting. Now, the number 1 Spence and the number 3 Pacquiao is fighting. That's for the lineal championships of welterweight. That is why the Ring Magazine, the Bible of boxing, By the way, the Ring Magazine was established way back 1920, and they are giving the title of lineal champion, the Ring Magazine, since 1920s. Right? Way back 1920s, the Ring Magazine is awarding the lineal championships. The man who beat the man. Now, if ever, I am hoping and praying, if Pacquiao able to beat Spence this coming August 21st, 2021, he will be the only 4-division the ring champion in boxing history. I will say it again. If ever, by God's grace, with God's blessings, Pacquiao able to beat Spence this coming August 21st, 2021, Pacquiao will become the first and only 4 divisions, featherweight, super featherweight, junior welterweight, and welterweight. Okay? 126 pounds, 130 pounds, 140 pounds, and 147 pounds. 4 divisions, the ring champions in boxing history. That's an extraordinary feat. And that's what you call greatness. GREATNESS. Exclamation mark. Greatness. Who? Alright. So see you next time. Or maybe we will be discussing on maybe junior welterweight lineal championship. Junior welterweight. Yeah, junior welterweight. Excuse me. Yeah. Junior welterweight. 140 pounds. So, for now, that's all. And hope you learned something from this lineal welterweight championships. The list from 1890s, 18th century to 2021. See you. Blessings. Take good care and be blessed.